Throws it to Drew Aller. Oh, does he go get it? Get it! Oh, man, with the catch. Why'd you run out of bounds? Why'd you run out of bounds?
He wants.
Oh, yeah, baby. What's up? It's Chris Simms. It's Chris Simms Unbuttoned. It's week 8 in the NFL. It's almost all in the books. And if you're watching, you'll know what you saw. If you're listening, that was our weapon, our secret weapon down the sideline. Long catch. Ahmed Fareed gone to the house, and then he falls out of bounds.
Yeah.
Jeez. Come on. Where's your balance?
And then I blame my teammate. I blame Michael Robbins. I go, you kind of led me out of bounds.
Yeah. No, you took 10 steps after that. You still stayed in bounds.
Why do they keep underthrowing me,
But you
though?
got good hands because you know what happens? This is what happens when you're a quarterback, and now you can maybe relate to when the guy's wide open.
Yeah.
You just want to complete it,
Yeah.
right? Even though you'd like to throw a perfect throw, but completing it's more important, so they just kind of throw it at you and they slow you down. They're not used to your speed yet.
I don't get too
They got to
cute,
get some
is
more
what-
reps on the field with you.
You know what? We do this job because it's fun. We got into it because we love sports.
Yeah.
Like, that is incredible. Like, I have done that the last 2 weeks now on these college fields, just run like a pattern for fun.
Right.
I can never complain about my job to my friends.
I hear
That's
that.
the thing. It's like, I was working 13 hours. Like, you can't complain
Yeah,
because of
yeah.
stuff like that,
No.
which we shouldn't complain.
You're right. It's a great atmosphere. We got a great job. We get to be around a lot of exciting, fun times, people, whatever it may be. And come on, we're both sports junkies, so to be able to be in stadiums around other sports players, even me. I mean, I grew up around it, right? I mean, I grew up around Phil Simms and Lawrence Taylor and Bill Parcells, and I'm still a junkie. And like when I meet people or I'm in a certain stadium, it's still special to me. Nothing beats football. I love it, and we had another good Sunday today, big guy.
If you're a junkie, you like this day.
Oh, my
because
gosh,
we had
16.
every team in action, all the games.
Right.
And it was almost like the NCAA tournament, like right around 3:45 Eastern until 4:05 or 4:10. It was like so many games were coming down to the wire. I can't imagine what it was like in the screening room with you and Coach and Rodney
yelling
and Maria.
everywhere. I think you get into the Browns-Ravens football game, the Texans-Colts football game, the Packers-Jaguars game, right? The Cardinals-Dolphins game, all at 1 o'clock, and the Jets-Patriots, right? All got to this point of just like, holy cow, I can't keep track of it. My eyes are on this screen, that screen. What just happened? Hey, tell me what happened on that play. I mean, it was incredible. It really was. Full slate of game always makes it hard on me on these days because 8 games at 1 o'clock is hard to keep track of. You know me. I sit here, I write notes. I want to know the context of the games a little bit. I know I'm not going to see everything. I had my work cut out for me today. I drank an extra cup of coffee on the way in.
Wow.
I had to.
And you
yeah.
thought about having an energy drink. That's how crazy it was today.
It never crossed my mind. Absolutely not. I would never go down that dark of a path.
So our promise to the homies each and every Sunday is that we'll talk about every game. Now, you're going to look deeper into them as the week goes on.
Yeah.
So we promise that. If there's things that you want to know more of,
We'll get to the right things.
We'll get into that. But, we got a pretty good idea of what happened in all these games. And so we got a lot to get to. Division leaders, famous Jameis. We're going streaking. Give me the headlines. We'll look back at Thursday, look ahead to Monday. But we start with Hail to the Commanders. Hail Maryland. I mean, this was the play of the day.
Yeah, maybe the play of the year, really, to this point.
The two quarterbacks, number 1, number 2, Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels. It was not a high-scoring affair,
no,
right?
It was not.
Commanders had the lead basically the whole game up until the end.
Right.
Let's just go right to the end.
Yeah,
Let's just
okay.
get your thoughts out on the Hail Mary 52-yard reception. Noah Brown, I looked at it. He threw it about 63 yards, I think, in the air.
Right. Landed a few yards, probably a yard or two short of the end zone.
Here are the dots for it.
I think the key thing is, first off, and I've talked about this on Football Night in America and the halftime show a little bit, is you got to be able to buy time, right? When you want to make this type of play happen, you want the mosh pit or the scrum to formulate down the field so you could throw the football. Well, they got to run 55, 60 yards down the field. So you got to buy at least 5 to 6 seconds on that alone. Really, probably more for them to get set up and get where they want to go. And then turn their back, see the ball, and now make it that jump ball situation. Jaden Daniels did an incredible job buying time, doing that, and then setting up to throw the ball. I think another big aspect of the Hail Mary, you go back to any great Hail Mary in time, at NFL times, right? It is quarterback bought time, quarterback throws the ball high in the air, so now all the receivers and everybody can kind of start to play the ball, get around it, and that's hopefully all those bodies can create a ball to get tipped in the air, and what happened with Noah Brown behind and getting the play. Now, the Bears, first off, there's so many things to talk about. All right, so here, let this keep playing, Pete. First off is, let me just say this. When Jaden Daniels runs to the right, okay, there's holding on 71 here. Yeah. They hold 55 on the Bears. It's blatant. It get called 10 out of 10 times. It's the first, second, or third quarter. Then 99 got held as he ran back into the middle of the field, I thought pretty blatantly. Right now, I don't like that about the NFL. We're going to over-officiate the whole game. And then whenever it's a big game or a big moment of the game, we're never going to officiate. We're going to let you do whatever you want. I don't like the inconsistency by the NFL there. The Bears, however, I don't really know what they were doing on the defensive side of the ball. Tyreek Stevenson was down talking to the fans as the ball was being snapped, already celebrating.
29, you can see him there.
Yep, he's the one that ends up tipping the football, oddly enough. And, again, it's hard to place blame. I think the other thing, too, when you look at it, Kevin Byard, I don't know if he's the one that's supposed to be behind for the tip, number 31 of the Bears. Nonetheless, when the ball is thrown, he is the guy that is in back and by Noah Brown. And then he leaves him to come up and get into the scrum, and the ball bounces over his head into Noah Brown's head.
So what was Devin's point? Devin's point that possibly it is not supposed to be the safety, that it's man up with all the corners have a man.
Well, I have fun with Devin. No matter what I say, he likes to shit on me at least once a show, okay? Right? Yeah. And I think the more and more he watched it, because, again, I was trying to watch it in real time and then real quickly on the highlight so I could have – the more and more he watched it, I think he started to agree that Kevin Byard looks like, or nonetheless – was the guy that was the farthest back. He's played a lot of football. Don't leave that guy by himself, right? I'm not trying to blame anybody. Byard's had a great career. He's got great instincts, all that. This was just a bad play, and I don't know how it was coached. I think the other aspect is the play right before it. The play right before it, they get a 13-yard completion on an out route, and they just let them have it. They're not going to be able to throw the Hail Mary unless they get the 13-yard completion.
Correct.
And
so
that was big.
That caught him off guard.
Yes, it did.
I looked back at the TV copy of it, and all the Bears guys, you see, they had a tight shot of Caleb Williams. There you go.
Right.
They were yelling at the guys to get back. They would get back. What are you guys doing up here close? So you get back. And so that was definitely not. That was not like a player mistake. That was a coach.
That was a coach mistake. 100%. And that's one where you got to go. Wait. They're at their own 35. Right. He's going to probably have to drop back 5 to 6 yards behind the line of scrimmage, if not more. Right. So it's going to end up, we're talking about a 70-something yard throw. It's
going to have to be a lateral throw.
Right. And I don't think Jaden Daniels' arm is a 70-yard type of arm. Right. So that's where, that's on Eberflus and company to go, wait, they're not going to throw the Hail Mary right now. Let's protect the boundary. Who gives a crap if they throw the ball down the middle of the field? We don't have to worry about that, right? So they had already used their timeout the play before.
Correct. Yeah.
So that's where I don't understand that. That's where Eberflus will be annoyed when he goes to bed tonight, and then they got to fix the Hail Mary problem altogether and go through the theatrics or the details of that, I should say.
So Jaden Daniels scrambled for 40.7 yards before letting go of the pass.
Almost 13 seconds.
Third most scramble yards on a TD pass. Yeah, almost 13 seconds.
Right.
The first touchdown pass with a time to throw over 10 seconds in the next-gen stats era.
Right.
Thanks to a couple holding perhaps there too.
Tyreek
Stevenson did talk to the media afterwards, said, quote, "To Chicago and teammates, my apologies for lack of awareness and focus. The game ain't over until zeros hit the clock. Can't take anything for granted. Notes taken. Improvement will happen." So good for him.
Hey, good for him addressing
standing up and saying it.
Well, I'm sure he saw social media.
Or maybe that's just a tweet.
It
maybe
is a
he didn't
tweet.
say that to anyone.
It's a tweet, but in modern times, that's as good as a quote. I mean, we know that. I mean, we got a lot more important people in the world putting out quotes on Twitter and stuff like that we all take it
that
and
do not
go.
take accountability for their actions.
But either way, he got a personal foul during the game. He was having a lot of jawing and back and forth with the Washington receivers throughout the game. The Bears defense, as we get into the game here, right? They played phenomenal. I mean, I don't want to say phenomenal. They played really good. They played really good in the sense that their offense stunk today.
Yeah.
And Washington was constantly in their territory, good field position, whatever, and they kept them out of the end zone. That's where they played good. They were in this game because of their defense and the fact that they forced 4 field goals early on in the football game where it could have got out of hand because Chicago Bears offense was sucky-ducky until about 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
Which I think is another one of the points here. Even though it was a lucky way to win the game for the Commanders, they were probably the better team on this
They
day.
were the better team throughout the day. There's no doubt about that. The Bears looked like a team that got rusty during their bye week, right? I think that I don't know if you saw, they tried to do the refrigerator Perry run on the 1 yard line to the guard up the middle. Mm-hmm. You don't do that in that situation. Let me just tell you.
Certainly you don't fumble it if you're going to do it.
Well, this is where, but this is where, I'm not saying like, hey, I like plays like that and stuff. That's cool.
I agree with you.
But you don't do it for the first time ever in a big game at 12-7 with a guy that's never done it before.
3 minutes left.
Exactly
Fourth
right.
quarter.
Exactly right. Listen, that's a play where you break it out the first time in a game when you're up 24-0 and you're down on the goal line. You're like, it's late in the fourth quarter. Let's work on this play. Maybe this will help us out. And if anything bad happens, who cares? We know we're still going to win the game, right? That is definitely the type of play where you got to run one time in live action when it's not the game on the line. Yeah. They got lucky. They made a stop on defense. They got the ball back. They went down and scored anyways. So at least there's not that. But a little too cute there. And then I think all in all, Washington, from what I saw, looked like, one, they pressured Caleb Williams a lot. The left tackle went out of the game at one point, I believe, Braxton Jones, right? It's Braxton Jones, right? I think I'm saying that right. Either way, it's right. Braxton Jones was out of the game. Pressure there. Didn't look like a lot of people were open when I looked downfield. Now, what I want to say, when I saw Cameron angles and things like that, a lot of man-to-man by Washington. That's what they do. And I do think there's some plays where I'm like, Caleb, you got to throw that, right? Mm-hmm. I know it's tight man-to-man coverage, but the defender's not looking, or the wide receiver's running to the corner route, and it's just man-to-man. You got to just throw a soft, lob ball out there and let him run under it. So I feel like Caleb was a little reluctant to let it go early, and then he missed throws. They got in a groove a little bit in the fourth quarter. Their run game, DeAndre Swift was phenomenal, and like I said, their defense just holding Washington to field goals was really a key to the football game.
Do you worry at all with Caleb about colder weather, element games or anything like that?
I don't think so. I mean, because one, he has the type of arm that I don't think it's as you've heard me wax poetically about his arm, right? He's a guy that's going to be able to throw the ball in the wind in Chicago.
Yeah.
He grew up in that area.
DC.
Right? So he should be used to that.
Yeah.
That was a tough day. I mean, Dan Quinn and them, they were ready to play. Jaden Daniels and company executed definitely at a much higher level throughout the football game. He played really well. There was another part of the game. I thought the Bears, panicking in the third quarter, down 9-0. They went for it on a 4th and 1 on their own side of the 50-yard line, and that gave a short field nothing drive to Washington where they made it 12-0. A little sloppy, penalties, Caleb off his game, some bad coaching. Looked like a Bears team that had been celebrating themselves for being 4-2 after that win in London, and what wasn't quite on the details of crossing the T's and dotting the I's today in this football
Only
game.
A couple big plays. You had that DeAndre Swift 56-yard touchdown run, a long one to DJ Moore, but that was pretty much it.
That was about it.
Department.
Right. Caleb made a few good scrambles, but no, there's no doubt if you watch the game, you're going to go, oh, Jaden Daniels is clearly more effective, more efficient. Made a lot of big throws, made a lot of good little sneaky, let's say it's 3rd and 4, he got 5 yards on a run. It's 3rd and 6, he got 7 yards on a run, right? He was really good that way. I think you said it right. The team that played the best throughout the 60-minute game was the Washington Commanders. They won the game, but they were outplayed in the last 7 or 8 minutes of the game, and that's where it's going to be disappointing for the Bears. Hopefully this is the budding of a special rivalry to go forward.
That would be great.
Because I do think it's personal between these two. And I think when that game was over and the Bears lost, Caleb was pissed, one, because they lost, and then two, I think he's like, damn, I got to hear more about Jaden Daniels, and I'm sick of hearing about him.
Yeah.
He's been stealing the headlines for me too much.
Commanders 6-2, their best start since 2008, and Washington is the 4th team since 1950 to win 6 of the first 8 games with a rookie quarterback. The last to do it.
Say what year was it? What year?
So it's the 4th team since 1950.
Okay.
To win 6 of the first 8 games with a rookie quarterback.
Right.
The last team to do it was
Houston Texans.
Right state.
Okay.
The Dallas Cowboys.
Dak Prescott in 2016.
Right. Dun, 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 dun. It was a little transition right here. We do have them playing the 49ers on Sunday Night Football.
Yes, they are. And we're getting the same kind of Dallas Cowboy performance against the 49ers.
Dang.
Things haven't changed. It's 27-10 right now. It is early fourth quarter, and I feel safe in saying this one is over. The 49ers have, from the get-go of the second half, dominated. Went right down the field, scored a touchdown. Dak Prescott threw an interception. They scored a touchdown. They got the ball back. They went down scored a touchdown, right?
Yep.
27-10 Niners. I think they got this one in the bag. Maybe I'll be proven wrong next time we do the
and he just got sacked again here.
Oh, yeah.
But
So
as we know, you guys know this. We don't know what's going to happen yet, so don't ruin it for us. Do not ruin this for us.
You're funny.
All right, now we move on to another section. This one is called Famous Jameis. So we just have one game in this one. How about the Browns with their new leader at quarterback? They defeat the Ravens in the shocker of the day, 29-24. The final score, Jameis Winston's second career game with 300 or more passing yards, 3 or more touchdown passes, no interceptions, and first since 2017. Was it really that easy? They just needed a change at quarterback?
Yes. We've been telling everybody for 5 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever. Right? I mean, I thought this game would be closer today because of this. I thought Cleveland would hang in there because Jameis sees the field better. He's a better thrower than Deshaun Watson is right now. Everything about it, right? I'll even give you some insight. I mean, Devin McCourty talking to Kyle Van Noy this week. Van Noy's an outside linebacker for the Ravens. He said on a little phone call that like they were nervous because they knew the offense would be better with Jameis, right? Let alone we know Jameis has no conscience to begin with, so he doesn't care. This is like he's playing with house money to a degree. We're not supposed to beat the Ravens anyways. Our offense has stunk. Let alone he's got a little chip on his shoulder and wants to show everybody that he shouldn't have been the third-string quarterback last week and that he still got starting quarterback caliber talent, and we saw that today. And then we know, as we've said too, right, their defense is awesome. It's just when your offense sucks, it breaks down eventually. You didn't see them break down as much today. Why? Because they weren't on the field all the time. The offense had some success, and they were playing maybe the best offense in football in the Baltimore Ravens. But that was cool to see. Cool to see by Cleveland, certainly. And I think the biggest thing, too, is, hey, Cleveland got the win. Jameis throws for 300 yards. We haven't seen 300 yards out of Deshaun Watson since he's been there. And I think the fact that the Ravens' defense is definitely a concern,
it's
right?
a problem.
We're in a world of weirdness. The Chiefs are a defensive team. The Ravens are a totally offensive team, and that's the truth of it. The Ravens can't rush the quarterback with their front four, and they can't cover Jack Diddley squat in the back end of the pass game.
Or Cedric Tillman, by another.
Or that's the nickname
they
call
Cedric
him
Tillman.
Jack Diddley Squat, I heard.
Which that play came right after
Right.
Kyle Hamilton dropped maybe the easiest interception I have ever seen dropped in NFL or college.
Yeah.
Like that was in the
kiss of
breadbasket.
death. The kiss of death.
It was. Jameis had 0 interceptions. He should have had 1. It was crazy. And then very next play, that's how they lose the game.
I would say Jameis probably should have had 3 interceptions today.
Really?
I think the Ravens probably dropped 3, maybe 4, really, in all honesty. But that seems to be the kind of the kiss of the death at the end of football games when defenses don't take advantage of their one opportunity to end it. And Hamilton's a guy that's got pretty good hands and ball skills. I was shocked to see him drop it. But, yeah, that came back to bite him. But this Browns offense with Jameis, again, Tillman's a good player. We know they still got Elijah Moore. David Njoku's one of the best tight ends in football. I know there's no Amari Cooper, but, Jerry Jeudy's solid. He's good. And then this is a defense that's still it's an all-star defense. So if they can have some semblance of an offense, they're going to be really a pain in the butt.
So they're 2-6 right now.
Yes.
I mean, it's going to be hard.
Yeah. I'm not saying playoffs. I'm not going to say that yet. But at least the offense is going to give them confidence to keep playing, keep fighting, and they're going to ruin, teams like the Ravens' playoff hopes, or not their playoff hopes, but where they want to be seated, or some other team's playoff hopes.
Playoff confidence for sure, because now this is 2 of their 3 wins against teams that have a losing record, Cleveland, and before that it was the Raiders. And so in a season that is all about the postseason for the Ravens, you're just looking for as many good vibes. And who knows, maybe these kind of performances in games do harden them for the postseason. I don't know if they can learn something from this that they wouldn't have learned if they had won this game.
Well, battles are always good for the postseason. There's certainly that. And their offense can certainly feel good to go, hey, this is a good Cleveland defense. They do a lot of stuff on that side of the ball. I thought Lamar handled the blitz pretty well throughout the day. It wasn't like, there's been problems with that in the past, right? He knew where to go with the ball, get the ball out of his hands. They didn't dominate in the run game quite like we've come to see them. And I didn't feel like they stayed patient with the run game today. It felt like the Browns crowded the line of scrimmage, and the Ravens got a little into, there's too many people up front. Let's just throw it, right? And I think that did knock them out of sync a little bit. I did have in my notes here a few times like, man, I'm shocked the Ravens aren't running the ball more, right? But I can't say they made a lot of big plays to Zay Flowers. Isaiah Likely was a big part of the football game. Lamar made some unreal plays on the drive that made it 24-23 late in the football game to give them the lead. He was great that way. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, other than one big run by Derrick Henry, it wasn't a sledgehammer, Baltimore dominate the line of scrimmage type of football day. And like I said, I think the big thing is they didn't run the ball. They were in some third and long situations. They were 2 for 10 on third down. That's not a great formula for success. And, of course, the Browns found some offense today. But that Ravens defense does scare me. It really does. I don't think it's very good. And I don't see any, I'm not looking at it going, oh, they're just messing up, or they messed this call up, or they didn't communicate. It's a lot of just no, that guy got beat. Oh, they can't cover. Oh, their front four can't really get to the quarterback unless they blitz. We had a little bit of this conversation last year about them a little at times. Their front four not being there. The cover guy's just not good enough. Another big play of the game, I just want to hit on it. Rashad Bateman dropped a pass wide open down the football field, too, at one point. And I can't remember exactly what the score was. I think it was 2017 Browns at that point, as I got in my notes here. And that was, a point where you go, well, they're definitely going to get a field goal. Who knows if it ended up in more touchdowns. Either way, Browns get the big win.
Yeah, and there's a different scenario, too, where if Hamilton just makes that interception, it's you look at this as oh, good, the Ravens came back, scored at the end, made a stop, and boom.
Right.
They did what they had to do.
Right, exactly right.
It would
that's what's crazy about the NFL.
Yeah, it'd be in the take care of business section instead of the famous Jameis section here. So the Ravens now are half game behind the Pittsburgh Steelers in the AFC North as we head now to the division leaders. And that would be the Houston Texans, who beat the Indianapolis Colts by 3, 23-20. The final score, Houston now leads the AFC South by 2 games, 3-0 in the division for the first time since 2016. But I would guess that you would say, once again, that we have still not seen the best of the Houston Texans.
You're exactly right. I mean, we have not. I don't come away today feeling good about the Houston Texans. They're 6-2. They got the win. The offense is still work for them on that side of the ball. I look at it that way and go, there's still too many plays where C.J. Stroud doesn't have people open and he has to make amazing throws. I still see too many plays of, like we talked about last week against Green Bay, where their pass protection gets exposed. Right? It's a little bit of that West Coast, they slide linemen like I told you about. And you're seeing D coordinators are getting pretty good at figuring out how to kind of, hey, let's get them to slide this way and then we'll blitz the other way. Same issues once again here. So that was an issue for the Houston defense throughout. I mean, the Houston offense, excuse me. The Houston defense didn't play bad. It just let up some big plays, and the run game for Jonathan Taylor got going. This is not a good Colts offense with the quarterback they have right now. It's inconsistent. They just wait for plays. That's what they are, right? So the Texans beat a team that I think they are superior than, but didn't beat them in a way to where it makes me feel better. They got the 3-point win. Certainly, that's good, but you can still see they miss Nico Collins. Diggs getting hurt's a little scary. And the fact that the offense has so many stale moments during the game bothers me. And I think we've kind of hit on some of those problems the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, Stephon Diggs leaving in the third quarter with a knee injury, did not return after that.
Man.
So, yeah, that would not be good. And there was another one of those weird plays here where the fumble looked like it was returned for a touchdown for the Colts, but Joe Mixon did touch him down.
Touched him on the way down.
But if he doesn't do that,
who
knows?
It's a big moment. The Texans have a little bit of the, I know they're 6-2, so I'm not trying to be too critical. Wow. I was going to say hard and critical. I don't want to be too hard on them and critical. Hardical. So now you know that. It might be a Simms. I like that, actually. I don't want to be too hard on them, but like we've said about a lot of teams, it's a lot of wins where you go, they won, but it wasn't great. I wasn't super impressed by it. Here, let me just say one big moment in the football game where I thought the Colts really messed up. They are backed up, at the end of the first half, and I just want to get to this here. And we've already seen at this point that Anthony Richardson, like we've talked about, it's feast or famine. If he can't throw a bomb or a laser, he can't control the football.
Under a minute to go, maybe around 30 seconds to go.
Okay,
right?
So you got it. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Exactly right. So under a minute to go, they get the ball with a minute left on their own 5-yard line.
In the first half.
In the first
Second
half.
quarter.
Their offense hasn't really done anything. Richardson, we're talking, is probably like 5 for 18 at this point, something like that. They drop back to throw the ball, like all of a sudden they're going to go down the field, and guess what happened? Of course, he threw an interception and gave the short field to the Texans. The Texans scored a play or two later and went into the half up 17-10 where it should have been 10-10, and the Colts blew a big opportunity right there to keep that game a little closer.
Yep. And it's special credit, too, to Danielle Hunter on the Texans defense. Generated a team-high 12 pressures on 33 pass rushes against the Colts. That's the second most pressures in a game this season. Highest pressure rate in a game this season. So special shout-out. There were some individual efforts on the Houston Texans that did pop in this one. One more thing on the game. I do know that there was a point that Anthony Richardson took himself out.
Yes, he did. I've never seen that before in my life.
And he said afterwards, and people thought it was because of an injury, but he said after the game it was because he was tired.
I know. That's rare. Now, listen, I wasn't a running quarterback, and I never ran around enough to get out of breath like that. Yeah. But I can honestly say I've never seen a quarterback go, wait, I want to come out of the game because I scrambled around and ran too much.
And it was a third down,
It was a third down that they put Joe Flacco in. Yeah, so that's an odd one. Here's another thing I'm going to throw out to you. I wouldn't be shocked if we started to see the Colts end a half, stuff like that, end a game if they need a 2-minute drill. I wouldn't be shocked if you start to see Joe Flacco come out in the field and handle those moments. Because Joe Flacco, first off, I've heard the relationship is really good between those two. Anthony Richardson is obviously really raw, as we know. There's no denying that. There's great talent, yes, but I think the jury is still out of whether he can play quarterback at the right way, right? And I'm not trying to be critical there or hardical, as some really smart people might say.
But no, you're not critical. You're just being hardical.
I'm just being hardical
right now.
But you know, there's got to be. You know, all I'm saying is I wouldn't be shocked if we saw that happen a little bit too, because it's not Flacco trying to steal his job. Anthony Richardson and him get along, and I think he probably knows. Listen, I'm not the best in these situations yet. I wouldn't be shocked to see that happen as we go forward. But Colts continue to fight. They stay in these games somehow, some way. It's actually really kind of remarkable that you can go 10 for 32 or throw for less than 50% in a lot of games that Anthony Richardson plays, and they're highly competitive and stay right in the football game. That's a testament to Shane Steichen and managing the game and calling the game the right way.
Every game has been close for the Colts so far. They're the first team in NFL history to have their first 8 games all decided by 6 points or fewer. So it's always coming down to the end. One of the most exciting teams to watch. The final minutes, the Colts go down again, though. The Falcons beat the Bucs 31-26. The Falcons now lead the NFC South by 1 game, holding that tiebreaker over the Bucs, now 4-0 in the NFC South. So they have cleaned up on the division so far. That was a good, strong win for them and Kirk Cousins. Obviously, Tampa showed something coming back from losing basically all their wide receivers in the last game to keep this one close and competitive, but Falcons get the W.
Yeah, Falcons got the W. I wanted to know, like, the Buccaneers, what are they going to do to attack on that side of the ball, right? They're going to run the ball with those running backs. They're damn good. They're going to throw the ball to those running backs because they're also good in the passing game. And then the guy they featured more than anybody was Cade Otton, the tight end today. So I think that's what the formula we can kind of look at from them going forward. Baker did some good things. I don't think they ran the ball probably as good as they expected to, honestly. And because of the injuries at receiver, I'm sure Atlanta crowded the line of scrimmage a little bit more than they did in most games or playing the Bucs or whatever, because they just went, wait, we're not that worried about some of your receivers beating us deep, and that feels comfortable. Now, the other side of the ball, and neither one of these defenses are very good. The Bucs defense is really struggling, right? The Falcons is just like, okay, it's got decent talent. They're really well coached. They're good in pass defense, and typically you've been able to run on them. But the Falcons, they are surgical on offense. My man Kirk Cousins is surgical. He is. Last week, I know he made some mistakes and some turnovers against the Seahawks, but that game, like we talked about, was about to go back and forth, and it was the interception dropped by Drake London and the strip sack fumble and all that. But there was no stopping him today. I mean, 23 for 29. They felt like whenever they needed a big throw in a big moment or get a first down or it's, second and long and they need to get it closer to the chains, whatever, they made that play. They made that throw. I thought Kirk Cousins was great, and we're seeing, hey, Pitts has been way more involved than ever we saw to start his career. The last 4 or 5 weeks, I mean, he's a mainstay of that. We saw Darnell Mooney get going a little bit there. The Falcons are an offensive football team that I think just really is looking to, like, make a play or two on defense. They know they're not going to, like, stop you stone cold and, like, they only had 150 yards of total offense. They know you're going to get plays against them. They're just looking to, like, hopefully A.J. Terrell can get an interception. Hopefully Matt Judon can can get a strip sack fumble, something of that nature, and then Kirk Cousins will be efficient on that side of the ball, and that's what we saw today. Good win for the Falcons, 5-3.
In the 2 games versus the Bucs this year, Kirk Cousins throws for almost 800 yards and 8 touchdowns, 91 of those yards today and 2 touchdowns to the tight end, like you mentioned, in Kyle Pitts. And Jesse Bates, one of those guys who can make a play for the Falcons on defense. He is the first player in Falcons history with a pick, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery in the same game.
Wow,
So,
that's pretty amazing.
well done.
Another key moment of the game. I want to hit on you with a little bit.
Okay. You're going to hit on me?
I'm not going to hit on you, but I'm going to throw it on you, and I don't want to hit on you, even though you're damn handsome, okay? The Falcons killing it in the pass game. It's 21-4. Let's see. It's 24-17 Falcons at the half. The Bucs come out and try to run a. Whoa!
Oh my God! Oh my God!
You actually scared the crap out of me. Holy crap! Oh my God! We're getting goosey night. I didn't know it was goosey night.
Insane. This is actual silly
Oh
string
my
on me.
gosh!
I'm allergic to silly
Spider-Man, you don't look that athletic. Don't jump off any buildings, all right?
string. Our Val Funko got hurt. Look at our Val
Get outta
Funko
here.
is down.
Get the hell out of here, you crazy person.
Oh my gosh!
Well done. Well done.
Good job. I mean, this is amazing.
Very good. Very happy Halloween.
It's everywhere.
All you, happy Halloween.
This is
See you
silly
later.
string. This is toxic material.
Oh, wow.
who-
When they shot the gun, it made me flinch. If
Oh,
we
I
go
didn't-
back to the videotape, I thought like something happened for real.
I didn't
was
know
like,
they
did
were back
somebody-
there. It is. You have silly string on your hair
Am
now.
I,
and
do
your
I?
fa-
They
we-
got it in my hair?
we
Damn
might
it.
have to-
Damn it.
Yeah, it's on your face.
That's
You
all
really
right.
can't see it
I'll
now.
leave it. Who cares?
but
Don't worry.
Who?
I don't want it on my computer, though.
That was fun.
That's what I got to get it off of.
Who's gonna clean this up though? That's what I
Not
want.
me.
That's what
I can tell you that.
No, no. Yeah, we apologize to whoever's cleaning this, but hopefully they see the clip and they appreciate the fun that we just had.
They hopefully they do. All right, 24-17.
There's
to
the
win.
actual, and there's Val too. With
Val,
her son.
if
you
you're
gotta
wondering
come on
who
here
this
now.
girl is, come
this
on,
is,
Val,
we've taken
get
this
over
up.
here.
This is a proud 49ers fan.
And the 49ers are kicking butt.
Well
right?
done. Well
yeah,
done.
we like it. You
Yeah.
look
Oh,
pretty.
I just got
really
stood up
pretty.
on that.
Not
I
as
got
good as the real thing.
Left hanging.
I mean, we know that. Do you have them? Do you really have that?
Yeah. Do I have this outfit?
Yeah.
No.
No?
Oh,
All right,
no, you
wanna
got to
give him
get
a
that
high five,
outfit.
Or you want him to hold it
That's
forever?
all right. That's all right. Val and I go way back. I knew she'd eventually connect.
I love it. But we still want it here for the rest of the show.
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
keep it. We'll keep it.
All right,
Val,
the Niners are winning.
go
It's
Niners.
good luck. We might have to keep it here.
So if you're listening to this podcast,
Yep.
you're like, what?
What
in
the hell
heck
just happened? Right, and that's why you need to watch us on YouTube. Okay, that's why you need to do that. I did want to hit on that last thing. Fake punt.
Good luck getting back on
24-17.
track. You really kept the thought of
Yes,
what you
I
wanted to
did.
make.
This is a
Okay.
football podcast. I'm Chris Simms. I'm always buttoned up on my football thoughts, all right? But, yeah, 24-17. The Bucs fake a punt back in their own territory. Short field, Falcons score 31-17, and they played catch-up from the rest of the football game. I love to give my there's always a moment in the game, for most games, and I try to get into that, to go, this one play to me really swayed it more in one direction, right? Or the game was about to get swayed in one direction and they did something stupid and kept it even, right? So that's all I'm trying to do. Sorry that I took so long there.
Wow, the most entertaining Falcons Buccaneers breakdown in Chris Simms Unbuttoned podcast history.
I heard producer Matthew Casey laugh, and I went, oh, he must be laughing because CeeDee Lamb was wide open for a touchdown.
Yeah.
And something silly must have happened. And then I turned around and Spider-Man was about to jump on me.
I thought he just got my joke from like 30
Wow.
seconds prior. I
Wow,
was like,
that was awesome. That really was.
I mean, the problem is you can't top that. They will never be able to top
No.
that, and so we
Well,
will
the
never
pressure's
see them
on them
again.
now.
All right, so the Falcons get a win. They lead their division. The Kansas City Chiefs, as we all thought in the beginning of the year, they would be the division leader. Yeah, they're doing that again. 27-20 over the Raiders, a Raiders team that always plays them tough.
Yep.
Seems like it's always a close game.
Right.
Chiefs, though, now lead the AFC West by 2.5 games. They have won 13 straight games, including the playoffs. The machine continues to roll.
The machine. The Raiders hung in there.
They did.
The Raiders' defense, as we've talked about, right? Those are one of those short list teams we talk about. We go, the defense is actually really good. It's just the offense is so bad that the defense gets worn out and dies out as the game goes along. I mean, it was a heavy dose of Brock Bowers and Jacoby Myers early in the football game.
Yeah.
Gardner Minshew made plays.
I mean, they tried to run the ball, 21 carries for 33 yards.
The Chiefs they're going to take away something. And usually it's like, we're going to crowd the line of scrimmage, and we're going to stop the run, and we're going to pressure the quarterback. And we believe in our corners, and yeah, you might make a few plays, but we'll make a play at some point and then give it to 15, and now we'll be up by 2 possessions, right? That's kind of seems like what they do. And I'm still impressed with the fact that the Chiefs, I mean, the defense we know is super talented, of course. Offense, they stay patient. They know who they are. Even when they don't run the ball that well, they still continue to run the ball. I think the biggest thing that jumped out to me about the Chiefs today, the way they spread the ball out to all the different receivers, that's what makes them tough to defend, because you just don't know who the ball is going to in any given moment. Then you throw on, hey, we saw Kelsey today, right? And hopefully they can start to infuse DeAndre Hopkins more and more into this pass offense. They're going to need him. They can't just play through the running backs, defense, and tight ends and get to the Super Bowl. At least I don't think so right now. They're going to need Hopkins to win some one-on-one matchups and be a go-to guy when teams are maybe thinking about Kelsey over the middle of the field and stuff like that.
Yeah, so here's a question from Sterling Short to you. Says, what is going to happen with D-Hop in Kansas City? Obviously, minimal packages today, but Mahomes just doesn't seem like a jump ball quarterback.
No, but he's not a huge jump ball quarterback. He's good in, like, if he's down the field and it's third down, he'll give a guy a chance, and then if he catches it, great, or he gets pass interference, that's where Mahomes, I do think, has great feel. Now, and Mahomes, maybe not a jump ball guy, I do think Mahomes will be more of a back shoulder guy with this guy a little bit, which is not really in his repertoire because they've never had a lot of receivers like that, right? Guys, Tyreek Hill is not a back shoulder guy, right? The back shoulder stuff is made for the bigger physical receiver.
Yeah.
DeAndre Hopkins will be good at that. He'll be a good middle of the field, better version than like what we saw Juju Smith-Schuster there a few years ago, right? Because Hopkins can play a physical brand of football, and then they'll start to design some plays for him and all that. They need him. Again, what I am confident about is Xavier Worthy is not ready to be that guy. You saw again today, Xavier Worthy, when he has to play through contact or bumping or the ball, see you guys, or the ball is in the air and he's getting hit as the ball's coming along. He never catches it. He never makes the play. This gives them a physical element, and yeah, I don't expect the world to be taken over by the Chiefs offense because of DeAndre Hopkins, but I do think you're going to see 6 for 70, 5 for 80, 10 for 90 as we go here, because I think they will find the right role and right spot for him in this football game. One other spot, because I like my spots.
Okay.
17-13, right? Chiefs backed up. Mahomes tip pass interception. Raiders return it to the 3-yard line. Come away with no points. That, to me, was the biggest part of the football game. They stopped them on 4 consecutive downs. The Chiefs then went all the way down the field, long drive, didn't score a touchdown, but kicked a field goal. That got them up by 7 and really in control of the game from that point on.
Patrick Mahomes has a pick in each of his first 7 games this year.
Yep.
He's the 4th quarterback to do that in the last 10 years. He's always making history.
Well, they're not going to be 500 yards and any of that, right? That's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
That's not who they are. He's extremely patient now. He literally just kind of lets the game come to him. He's smart. Doesn't throw a ton of dicey passes. I know he threw the interception today and was, but one,
tipped.
It was tipped, right? And then he's just going to make a play in a big moment, certainly. Or somebody is, too. Again, what we saw today. There, the game was 20-3. Mike Pennell gets the strip sack on Gardner Minshew. Short field. They go down, score the touchdown, go up 2 touchdowns, and that was kind of night-night.
Chiefs, one of the best teams in the NFL. When we come back, we're going to take a look at some other teams that could lay claim to that title as the year goes on. Some teams that are streaking right now, contenders playing well. We'll talk about that coming up next. My God. Oh,
my God. You actually scared the crap out of me. Holy crap. Oh, my God. We're getting Goosey Night? I didn't know it was Goosey Night.
This is actual silly
Oh,
string.
my gosh.
I'm allergic to silly
Spider-Man, you don't look that athletic. Don't jump off any buildings, all right?
Oh, our Val Funko got hurt. Look at our Val
Get outta
Funko
here.
is down.
Get the hell out of here, you crazy person. Gosh. Oh, that was good times. Love the Football Night in America crew. Those are my buddies.
We're going to need to wear a heart rate monitor just to if they're going to try to top that next time, we are in serious trouble.
Like I said, I don't get scared easily, and I got scared shitless there.
We're going to have to start doing the pod in undisclosed locations just so they can't find us next time. Welcome back to Chris Simms Unbuttoned, presented by Lowe's. Lowe's knows home improvement. This section is called We're Going Streaking Now. You got some teams that are on a little bit of a win streak here, and some of the strongest teams in the NFL. And who knows, maybe the Eagles are getting back into that territory. They defeat the Bengals by 20, 37-17, 3 straight wins for the Eagles since the bye. They scored the game's final 20 points because it was 17-17 in the third quarter.
Right.
The Eagles put the pedal to the metal and then steamrolled the Bengals.
It was a really fun game until late in the third quarter, or maybe early fourth quarter, where you just felt like, oh my gosh, the Eagles have taken control. The Bengals can't do anything, and the Bengals defense can't stop the Eagles no matter what. Right? The Eagles are so talented. It's not about stopping the Eagles' scheme. It's nothing about that. It is truly about stopping their players and their great playmakers, whether it's Saquon or A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith or Jalen Hurts making some crazy scramble and throw, whatever. It's really what it feels like. It's still like I would say with the Houston Texans. Yeah, they're 5-2. It's good, but it still feels like something's off with them a little bit. Right? Early on in the game, Burrow was surgical. I mean, he was moving the ball up and down the field, picking apart the Eagles' zone defense, doing all of that. Really good. They were up 10-3, moved the ball again, and Money McPherson missed a long field goal. And that, to me, was the part where game kind of changed. Eagles had an ugly 12-play, 56-yard touchdown drive to make it 10-10, and that kind of opened the floodgates from there. And then it was like, Eagles can't be stopped. And they just continued to move the ball, whether it was on the ground or a big throw or whatever, third down conversions. They kind of did it all in the second half. And then let alone, too, now 24-17 Eagles. The Bengals, I do think, even though I know their defense isn't good, they were on their own side of the midfield. They go for it on a 4th and 1. They throw a ball out into the flat. They're trying to pick for Jamar Chase. The Eagles played it well. And Cooper DeJean makes the tackle for a no gain. And to me, that was the end of the game because it was 24-17. Hey, punt the ball, make them drive. The defense hadn't been playing that bad at that point. But what happened is their defense held. They got a field goal, 27-17, but it just felt like the momentum was never back on the Bengals side from that point on. Or, maybe I should say after that Money Mac missed field goal in the first half.
Let's talk about that defense for the Eagles a little bit because they have given up now 12 points per game during this 3-game win streak. You mentioned Cooper DeJean making that play on 4th down.
Yep.
John Tay said to you, talk about the Eagles' young secondary. They look legit. Of course, they also have your man crush and Quinyon Mitchell, their first-round pick.
Hey, he's coming to exactly what we thought he was going to be. When they play man, they put him on Jamar Chase, right? That's all I need to say. I don't even care what happens. The fact that when they play man, they put him on Jamar Chase tells me they already think he's the man and that he can handle that. Cooper DeJean is popping. I make fun of white safeties every now and then. he can go, and you could tell he's got great instincts. He's a very good tackler. So they do. They got some speed and some weapons on that side of the football. There is a ton of talent on that Eagles defense. Now Vic Fangio and the way they play defense on that side of the ball and stuff sometimes, I question that at times. I do. But, Eagles are so talented. I do wish they would still do more on the offensive side of the ball. But big win. On the road, desperate Bengals team. Early on, Bengals had momentum. Were doing things. Joe Burrow was throwing dots everywhere. And you thought, oh, wow, Burrow's got their number. But slowly but surely, the Eagles wore them down. And that's the problem. And I know that was part of what was concerning to the Bengals. Was not that we have to, their scheme's not going to make our brains pop off. Can we handle the Jimmies and the Joes? Can we match up? And the other thing the Bengals, I think, do have to start doing a little bit more, they got to start playing some more man-to-man, too. They're another team. It's too much zone all the time, and they let people kind of pick them apart at times. But good win for the Eagles, and they got a little something going right now.
Yeah, they have allowed points they did allow points, the Bengals, on 7 of 8 Philadelphia possessions. That is just certainly not good enough. Dun, dun, da, da, dun, 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 dun.
And the 49ers are trying to this game up. I'm just going to let you know. I mean, it's the Dallas here in the fourth quarter, down 27-17, has gone down the field so quickly in 2 drives. It went 27. It went 27-10 to 27-17. Niners went down, got a field goal, and made it 30-17. And the Cowboys went down on a 4-play 70-yard drive in 53 seconds, and now we're 30-24 with 3 minutes and 30 seconds left of the game.
We got a ball game.
We got a ball game all of a sudden. 49ers defense, as I've been telling you, is an issue. They are not the same. They've played well tonight, but here going to break late, and hopefully they don't die out. Looks like they're losing energy over there.
All right, once again, we know you guys know this one. We don't yet, so don't ruin this for us. Moving on now to Packers and Jaguars. This was a close one as well. 30-27 was the final score. Game-winning field goal again by Brandon McManus, but it's 4 straight wins. For Green Bay, I guess now. So Jordan Love left in the third quarter with a groin injury.
Right.
But then Malik Willis comes in. You called it on Football Night in America. You said it's the best offseason trade by any team this offseason.
He had a great, as we talked about when it happened, he had a great preseason. He fits their offense. It's thank God Brian Gutekunst made the trade to go get him. It made us save their season. I'll say what I always say. I think the Packers are one of the most talented teams in football right off the bat. They were sloppy. They weren't at their best today. Jordan Love definitely missed a throw or two that you'd like to see him hit, but he was banged up right from the get-go. I mean, there was the first third down of the game. He had a guy open over the middle of the field and kind of tried to throw it back towards the middle of the field, missed him, and that's where he kind of pulled up and was like, I thought it was calf muscle. I know they're calling the groin, whatever. Either way, he was a little lame as far as moving around from that point on. And there was a point in the football game where you just went, man, is Jacksonville just going to win this? Because Trevor Lawrence was kind of hot. He was throwing the ball. They were making some big plays. And at one point of the game, they were up 17-13, and he just kind of felt like, man, the Packers seem sluggish and don't have their stuff together and making a few mistakes. Love threw an interception down close to the red zone or in the red zone one time, and you just thought, man, Green Bay is going to screw this up. But he went out of the game, and they went, we're going to run the ball with Josh Jacobs. We're going to run the ball with Josh Jacobs. And then Malik Willis made a few good plays and throws and a few good runs himself. And they hung in there and won that football game.
Yeah, it is the 5th time this season the Packers have had a game where they've had over 160 rushing yards, 170 today. And you go back and forth with Devin on this, too. You like the Packers running game as much as anyone, better than the Ravens.
I do. When you just talk about the pure running game, right? The Ravens' stats are skewed in their running game because of Lamar's scrambling ability. So, and I understand how dangerous the Ravens are, but when I think of running game, I just want to go, wait, if it's 2nd and 5 and I want to give the ball to a running back up the middle and get 6 yards in a big game or whatever, and like they know we're going to give the ball to the running back up the middle, I'm taking the Packers. That's what I'm saying. Now Lamar's ability to keep the ball off the edge and all of that is a different ball game, and I understand what Devin's saying there. But just pure old traditional running, I love what Green Bay does.
All right, you've had a couple times where you've gotten to be critical of the coaches and going for it on fourth. Can I do
one?
one? Can I do one? In this
of course you can.
So Jacksonville comes down, good, well played game.
Yep.
They tie it. 27-27, under 2 minutes to go. Well, they were not tied yet because they had the choice to maybe go for 2
I thought for sure they would.
So I don't know why you wouldn't in that situation, because if you just kick the extra point, as we just saw, you can still lose if they go down and kick a field goal, or you still have a 50-50 chance of losing in overtime. You really haven't won anything right there. So if you go for 2 and you get it, at least you give yourself a chance to win in regulation. I mean, I know if you don't get it, then you can second guess that.
Yep.
But it just seems to me, it's just like that's an opportunity to you're what 2-5.
I
on
understand.
the season.
I understand what you're saying there.
Put a little pressure on them, like they have to get a field goal now, or else they're done.
Yes, I hear you there. Now I think, listen, his game management's been scrutinized a little bit.
Yeah.
They've been scrutinized a little bit. I think they were happy that they just drove down and were like, hey, we're going to tie the game. It's a backup quarterback. Hopefully we can come away with this game with our $55 million quarterback versus their backup quarterback. I think the other thing that maybe goes into this too is the fact that they had already burned 1 timeout. So they only had 2 timeouts left. Maybe they thought of that aspect a little bit too.
If they don't get it.
If we don't get it, and now they break 1 run and get a first down with Josh Jacobs, and they've been running on us all quarter, the game's going to be over, right? So I can understand that. But I promise you, especially with Doug Peterson and his history, I went, oh shit, they're gonna run the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, they're gonna go for it and try to get 2 points here. Evan Ingram, big touchdown catch. I thought Trevor Lawrence played pretty damn good. Other than his bad interception backed up right after Jordan Love had turned the ball over. That was a bad interception. But all in all, he made a lot of big plays. Our man Brian Thomas Jr. showed up again. Tanks Bigsby made a few big plays. And, I think that was it all in all. When I come down to it, there was no big moment. The biggest moment of the day was the big throw to Jaden Reed that set up what a call in that moment.
The confidence they have in him.
Right.
As not only a guy who can just be serviceable and run the offense and run the ball, for him to throw in that situation is pretty impressive.
They're not like your Lions all the way, but they are fearless and they attack. Jordan Love threw an interception. So what? The next 3 passes we're going to call them 30 yards down the field. We don't give a crap. They don't ever relent that way. And, they're a big play football team that has also showed that they can drive the ball methodically because of that run game. Tough to defend that Packers team. I think the Packers, as you've heard me say a million times already, are really damn good. They're just young, a little immature, a little sloppy at times, but, can be a team at the end of the football season we look at and go, ooh, they're Super Bowl caliber.
They are 4-0 this season versus the AFC South. They wish they were in the AFC South because they are second to my Detroit Lions, the aforementioned team, who beat the Titans handily. 52-14 was the final score in this one. They're 6-1, their best start since 1956. They've been bad for a long time. This is just amazing. The last 5 games, offensively, they have 25 touchdowns and 20 incomplete passes.
There was a point today where Goff had 27 yards throwing, and you guys had 28 points. 28 points. Right? So that's incredible. Again, this speaks to the overall culture of your football team there. The things we talked about a lot last week. The constant pressure. It just doesn't matter. Defense, special teams, we'll call trick plays. We don't care. We're attacking. And that's kind of what we saw today. Early on in the football game, it was one of these where the Tennessee Titans were making plays.
For sure.
But see, this is where your team changes the way other teams want to play. And this is where the game gets tight. The Titans knew if we play our same style of football, we have no chance of winning. So they went for it today. They were like, we're going to be aggressive, and we're going to throw the ball down the field. And Mason Rudolph early on was throwing bombs to Calvin Ridley. And you were like, what the hell is going on here? Right? Making plays. But they're not comfortable playing like that. And eventually it showed that they're not that kind of team, and the dam broke. And all of a sudden it's like, wait, we went for it because we had to, but now we're playing a style of football that we're really not meant to play, and now we're getting blown out, and the game's over, halfway through the third quarter.
2 interceptions for Mason Rudolph. So they were making the big plays, also turning it over, setting up the short field. That is how Jared Goff was able to throw for 27 yards. And they were up by 3 scores.
Short plays,
at that point.
Kick returns, punt returns, everything like that. So that's where it was just a total team effort. Certainly Jared Goff was good, efficient, 12 for 15, 85 yards, 3 touchdowns. Like what? What the hell's kind of stat line is that? Really. But that is the kind of stat line really dominant football teams will put up from time to time. And I can remember my dad, not that I'm saying he's, John Elway or Dan Marino, but they'd have games like in the 80s because the Giants were, of course, really good. And I'd go, damn, their defense whooped ass. They made a few plays. Dad was like 10 for 14 for 150 yards and 3 touchdowns. That was it for the day. And you were just like, wow, we'll take it. It's a good day.
Now you like dun 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 dun. 4th and 10. Dak Prescott back to pass his own 25.
He got
throws
pressure.
It up. Are they going to get a flag on this one? They will not.
The receiver, Jair Brown was stupid right there. They had him double covered, and he hit him in the back as the ball was coming. They could have easily called pass interference. Easily. Now, I'm glad they didn't because he was double covered. And the big thing was they got pressure on Dak Prescott.
He put an arm on.
It wasn't
as
bad as I thought.
Arm.
It was actually his feet got tangled more than anything. So he had a little arm on it, but it wasn't as bad as I thought. Okay. All right, take that back, Jair Brown.
49ers have a chance just to ice the game here. We'll get back to that one in a second. You like the Packers running game. Devin likes the Ravens. I like my Detroit Lions.
Let me just say this. I think we said it too. Your guy, 3 rockets up his ass. He's officially classified as a Chris Simms 3 rockets up his ass type of guy. And as we said, I think, what did we say, Wednesday or last Sunday? I mean, in space, I don't know. You tell me, him or Saquon Barkley, they're the two best in football. Nobody tackles those two guys in space. And I think Gibbs has better long speed than Barkley at this point of his career.
Yeah, 70-yard touchdown run. We'll take a look at the dots of that one because I cannot spend enough time on the Detroit Lions.
You run the. I mean, he's phenomenal. And if he sees a hole or a gap, see you later. He's out of here.
One of the fastest dots.
Hey, here's the other thing too. To your point, what we talked about a little earlier with like the Bears and don't run the fullback dive at that moment.
Yeah,
you guys ran the halfback pass up 35-0, right? Or up 28-14.
Yeah.
That's kind of the time to do that type of stuff. Hey, we're rolling, we're moving. Let's practice this. Maybe it'll help us in the divisional playoff game a little bit. Nonetheless, like we talked about with Penei Sewell last week when they ran the hook and ladder with him against the Dallas Cowboys and all that, there's times in the game where you do show that stuff because you just make the other teams that you're about to play have to prepare for all of it. Let alone as that's a good time to call it. We're total control of the game. We feel like our defense is settled in finally. Mason Rudolph and stuff are messing up all of a sudden. Now let's do that. That was my last point.
And now I could see them running it in a tight game situation. You've done it before.
You've done it before. We've executed it.
Right. And
we've practiced it a lot, and now we've done it in a real game. And Montgomery or whoever throws the ball in the backfield, we'll have a good feel for it.
Lions looking like one of the best teams in football, if not the best team. Bills looking like that as well. They go into Seattle.
Yeah.
Talk about an impressive win. This one was right up there as well.
Yes,
31-10, a blowout against the Seahawks. They now lead the AFC East by 3.5 games.
Yeah, I know we've talked about it a little. Seattle's defense is not good. They had some games where, they looked okay and against some bad offenses. And I know last week they won 34-14. I got that. But like as you heard me say earlier, the Atlanta moved the ball on them all day. They just turned the ball over. That was going to go back and forth shootout. It wasn't like Seattle stopped them. And that was the problem today. Bill's got something going on the offensive side of the ball. Like, there's no doubt about that. Between Keon Coleman has turned the corner into a legitimate target, right? We know Amari Cooper's out there. He was really not a part of the football game. It's the run game, the tight ends. They got it all going early on. They got it fast and furious. And really, the Seattle Seahawks just could not get in a flow or the rhythm in the early part of the football game on their offensive side of the ball. They had the field goal drive where Geno made some great throws, but after that, there was really nothing to speak of as far as the Seattle offense and what they could do. Sean McDermott it looked like he had a really good game plan. Seattle was unable to run the ball, and the Bills are a team that, when they are on you and they smell blood, they make the right plays to kind of oh, no, this game's over. We're not going to let you hang around and maybe come back. And we saw that today. Bills made a lot of big plays. I think the biggest part of the game was Allen threw the interception. The Hawks had a big return, all right, almost a pick six, and they came away with no points. The Bills stopped them on 4 straight downs inside the 5-yard line. Biggest play being the ball was snapped over Geno's head, I think on 1st or 2nd down. That really got them behind the chains. They got some of it back, but got stopped on 4th down. And then you just felt like that blew a big opportunity. And then what happened, as you see, the Bills went on a 93-yard drive for a touchdown right before the end of the half, and you felt like that was that was a moment Seattle could have made this a game, and now you felt like Buffalo was totally in control.
I think we are officially getting to the point where I'm not going to allow you to say that Josh Allen does not have weapons around him now. Because
I hear you.
Of the guys they've acquired with the Coopers, of course, and the Keon Coleman in the draft, but they've developed as well with Shakir and Cook and now
Knox
Ray
and
Davis
Kincaid
as a running back.
I hear
Knox
you.
and Kincaid. I think they got some talent who's emerged.
I'm about to turn the corner and never say that again. I am. I am. And I think the other thing, too, is that they have an offensive line that I think is elite. And the fact that they keep running the ball like this, and then if they'll attack down the field in the pass game with Josh's big arm, we know they're going to be dangerous. But Josh Allen was phenomenal today. He was on fire. Other than the interception, he almost played flawless.
Dun, dun, da, 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 da. We'll do it right now because it just went final. The San Francisco 49ers tried to make it a game, did make it a game late against the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football on NBC, but they end up winning by 6, 30-24, the final score. Your instant reaction to this game?
Well, instant reaction, 49ers big win, must-win football game. And, defense is still scary to a degree, right? It was better. It certainly was. But what we saw at the end there in the fourth quarter is what does scare me against good football teams. Oh, our pass rush is a little tired, right? We don't have the same emotion as we had early on in the football game. And then, like we've talked about a lot, they don't have some of the horses or the studs that they had last year on defense. You know, whether they left in free agency or people are hurt or whatever, they're not the same that way. And they just seem a little bit to have that knack right now of like, we just mess up every now and then, right? I don't know any other way to say it. Whether it was big penalties in the first half, they should have been up in the first half. Holdings, drop passes, long touchdown by Deebo Samuel called back. Brock Purdy missed a few throws in the first half of the football game, just a little bit off that way, but nonetheless, big win for them to get that over Dallas. And Dallas plays hard, don't get me wrong, but you know what I'm going to say about Dallas. I mean, it's all on Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. And if they don't show out, then nothing is going to happen in Dallas.
17 targets to CeeDee Lamb.
They can't run the ball. They don't even pass protect that well. They just have a quarterback who's like, oh, I'm the biggest, strongest guy on earth, and I'll stand here and get hit in the chest and throw the ball to CeeDee. So he doesn't care. Like, he's good at like handling pressure like that. But the whole game is on those two. And that's not fair. Dak Prescott did not play his best. I get that. His interceptions were bad tonight and probably should have thrown another interception or two, in all honesty. But I don't care who it is. I would defend any quarterback that's in that situation. Their pass game is not that great schematically. They can't run the ball on anybody. They're the worst in football. And they really only have two marquee players on the offensive side of the ball, and Lamb and Prescott. That's just not going to win. Even with the 49ers banged up, it's still not as good as Purdy, Kittle, Samuel, Guerrero, Jordan Mason, whatever you want to say. There's just not enough firepower there in Dallas.
Yeah, Mason goes out, and this one, Guerrero comes in second half, 14 carries, 85 yards, and so that run game just continues to plow, get yards in the Kyle Shanahan system there. George Kittle goes off on National Tight End Day, which we do have to mention
incredible.
10 times from here on out. We're contractually obligated.
What? I mean, it does feel like every offensive coordinator in football was like, let me put an extra play or two in the playbook this week for the tight ends. It's National Tight End Week.
So Kittle had 6 catches, 128 yards, and a touchdown. Adding to these numbers, as you are seeing on YouTube and Peacock right now, the average targets for tight ends weeks 1 through 7 was just under 200. It was 226. So, yeah, they were targeted more, caught more receiving yards. And look at the touchdowns. 17 touchdowns by tight ends. They were averaging 7.5.
It's almost, every game. It really was. I don't know what to say. It's just one of those weird coincidences of just like it all matched up at the right time.
Maybe the tight ends all went to their OCs and were like, hey, come on.
Gosh,
it's my week.
The Chiefs, Kittle, it was Bowers on the Bowers. We had Pitts. We had Isaiah Likely was everywhere. Kraft for Green Bay. Evan Ingram had the big catch in that game. We could go on and on. Conklin had a big catch for Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. We had lots of stuff. It was good for the tight ends.
So the Cowboys are 2 games behind the Eagles in the division. They are what? Is it like 3 games or so behind my math? I think there's a half a game in there.
Can you do math?
It's difficult. They've played 7. Washington's played 8.
What are you trying to figure out?
Well, are they a playoff?
No, they're not a playoff team. They're not. Absolutely not. They're 3-4. I got no problem saying it. They'll hang around. They'll beat the lower class of football. They're not going to beat any of the upper class teams in the sport. They will not be in the playoffs. They're not good enough on defense, and they don't, like we talked about, have a good enough system on offense. They can't run the ball, and you just can't win with 2 guys. They're not going to the playoffs.
Well, there you have it.
There you have it.
It'll be fun to see who their head coach is next year. More to come on that in the future. All right, time for Give Me the Headlines, presented by Hyundai. This is where we go into the printing press. We got the newspaper. It's got to come out. We're getting late here.
Yeah.
There's too many games, too many good things happened here.
Yeah, full slate.
We're going to talk about another good game where stuff happened. Patriots beat the Jets by 3. Oh, my gosh. Your headline for this one is?
There's Jets, or there's just end the season.
Which maybe this loss did.
I think it did. The Jets are, I don't think there's any doubt the most disappointing. Sucky ducky, as Matt Casey would say, producer here at NBC Sports and lifelong Jets fan from Long Island. All right. But this is sucky ducky. This is the most disappointing team in football.
But I don't think there's any question about that.
Right.
And this is a Patriots team.
Right.
We don't need to remind Matt of this.
Yeah.
That they demolished on Thursday. It was like, all right, now they're right. 24-3 comes back and loses by 3.
Demolished. Got called out by their head coach. Then the old head coach called out the coach and said, "Oh, how dare the same defensive players as last year," which, I do think is a bunch of BS that Bill Belichick was commenting on the Patriots and Gerard Mayo and any of that. I really do. In fact, I think it's a lot of bullshit that Bill Belichick's talking to the media and doing so much altogether. A guy that disrespected the media forever, wouldn't talk to anybody or ever say anything, and now he's going to give us opinion about every coach and every team in football and hang that over everybody's head in every city. I don't think that's cool. It's hypocritical in my opinion. Now, back to the football game. Okay?
Matthew Takis did want to chime in on that. As a Pats fan, how about a damn okay to the whole team responding to the soft team remarks by Mayo, seeing it as a challenge to prove why they should be part of the solution in the rebuild rather than be the guys getting replaced by top-tier draft picks next April.
Hey, tough, patient with the run. Drake May, unfortunately, got the concussion, made a few plays with his legs, a few good throws. But Jacoby Brissett came in and kind of held down the fort. But it was a lot of the same crap as always. Underwhelming Jets offense, right? Lack of big plays. Now, Rodgers, I felt like, pushed the ball down the field a hair more today, which was encouraging. But then it was like, Zerline misses a field goal or whatever else. It just seemed one thing after another where they just could never put the game away or get in control of the football game to put the Patriots in an uncomfortable position. I think that's the big thing of the game overall. I'm missing one part that I wanted to hit on, and hold on, I got to look at my notes here. And then I think the big thing is, punt returns. I mean, the punt return was the biggest part of the football game. The Jets were up 13-7, punt the ball, and Jones, right, 25 for the Patriots, has the big punt return, and that kind of swayed the momentum back into the Patriots' favor. Gave them the short field. They got the touchdown on a 26-yard touchdown drive. And from that point on, where you felt like the Jets were in control, but like, okay, the Patriots are still hanging on, then we were like, oh, no, we're in a football game now. Here we go. And it was actually extremely entertaining to watch down the stretch.
They're just finding ways to lose games here. This is from Rich, is it Cimini?
Yeah,
Cimini. Covers the Cimini.
Yeah,
that covers the team.
yeah.
He goes, this is crazy. The Jets had 0 turnovers.
Yep.
Held the Pats to under 250 yards, and still lost. The first team to lose a game like that, didn't turn the ball over, holding their team to that many yards since 2012. I mean, it's just, you don't lose when you normally dominate like that.
No.
They found a way to do that.
They
they have multiple times this year.
Yeah, well, they gave the Patriots some short fields and some moments. That would be a big thing, and they made their field goals. The Patriots, I think that's another big thing, right? Where the Jets drove down, and it was 16-14, right? And they missed that field goal where they could have gone up 19-14. The Patriots then went down and kicked a field goal to take the lead 17-16. Right? You got to say, Rodgers bounced back. He made a play, made a clutch drive. They go down, they get the score, but then the all-forgiving great Jet defense that is just absolutely falling apart in front of our eyes. Sucky ducky again, overrated. Yeah. And I will say, this is where they're missing Robert Saleh. Robert Saleh, he is a good defensive mind. He is their energy leader on that side of the ball. And I feel like they missed that aspect about him being on the football field right now. He was that guy. He was the all gas, no brakes guy. But, man, I don't even know. It's hard really to put a finger on the Jets and how this has happened to them. Aaron Rodgers has to be sitting back going, man, what did I do? Right? I'm going to be remembered for torn Achilles and going down with the ship with the Jets and looking like crap at the end of my career. And he's got to be second-guessing himself right now. And, yeah, I'll say it. I mean, I think it's over. 2-6, they're going to have to be pretty close to perfect here down the stretch.
So the Jets host Houston on Thursday Night Football this week. That is Halloween. And you know how you're done? If you're the Jets, you've lost Lee Eisen, noted homie. He goes, damn okay to me. for finally growing up at the age of 30, making plans to spend Halloween with my girlfriend instead of staying at home and watching my beloved Jets on Thursday night. He's choosing Halloween at the age of 30 over watching the Jets.
Hey, way to go, Lee. That's hey, sometimes you just got to make decisions, all right? You got to make a grown-up decision. You did a really good job there. I'm frustrated for you. I really am. The Jets are just can't make big plays. Their defense never makes a big play in a big moment for the most part. It seems like every gotta-have-it moment through the last 3 or 4 weeks, anybody but the Jets make it. And, again, the offense, okay, a little bit better, sure. But like you said, the Patriots' defense is nothing special. There's nothing there. And to have to work that hard to score just 22 points in this football game, yeah, all disappointing. Should be more explosive plays with the talent the Jets have on the offensive side of the ball. All that's disappointing.
So, most disappointing team in football in your mind, the New York Jets. Also in the running, another team in that division, the Miami Dolphins, a playoff team from a year ago, now 2-5. Cardinals defeat them by a point, last-second field goal, 28-27. Your headline is?
Oh, my headline is, hold on, I got to get there, Call of Duty, okay? Because, well, you know, there was that old thing about, you know, Kyler Murray likes to play Call of Duty. Remember when he signed his new contract? They put that in the contract
too much.
And then took it out? And then, well, Duty called, and Kyler Murray answered. Let me just tell you. He really did. First off, I mean, we know this is supposed to be the Tua homecoming game. He looked good early. The star of the show for the Miami offense, and again, it was certainly better with Tua at the helm. There's no doubt about that. But they ran the ball really well and probably should have ran the ball more, honestly, when they look back at it. Tua made some plays, definitely missed a few throws here and there where I think there was a chance to, you know, make a few plays down the football field. But let me just tell you the biggest part of the football game. Dolphins ran the ball. They need to run the ball more. That's for sure. They get too pass happy. We've talked about that a ton. But the Dolphins backed up 20-10, snapped the ball over Tua's head and take a safety. Then they have to kick the ball right back to Arizona. Arizona goes down and scores a touchdown. So there they were down 10 points, and Miami had the ball. And now they score the touchdown. It's 20-18. They didn't make the 2-point conversion, and we're in a football game once again. And then from that point on, Kyler Murray balled out. I mean, Kyler Murray in the first half and the Cardinals offense, they could not do much at all. He exploded in the second half and made a number of big plays. Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison, you know, a few scrambles, a few buying time. But the one thing I like about Kyler Murray that I'm seeing more this year than other years, people around him are people in his face and making big throws down the field with pressure. That is definitely something that's improved about him. That was a big win for them on the road. It showed a little toughness for me in a game today that I wasn't sure the Cardinals exactly had it. Getting that win on Two-A-Day back in Miami, that's big for the Arizona Cardinals.
Cardinals now tied atop the NFC West. AZJ says damn okay. Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride both going over 100 yards, moving Arizona to 500 and atop that NFC West. Yeah, I mean, they are in the picture here and certainly a dangerous team. And like Kyler Murray, when he's playing like this,
he's
like one of those players where
you're
just like, you do enough on defense.
Yeah.
You put a few pieces around him on offense.
Yeah, he'll make the big plays in the big moments. He
can.
And you're seeing they're getting Marvin Harrison more involved in the offense. Trey McBride's their go-to guy in the offense altogether. That's who it looks like the pass game is formulated around, with Marvin Harrison being the second option, and then they're going to continue to grow it around him. But I also can't say enough about Kyler Murray's big run on 3rd and 4. 3rd and 4, late in the football game, they're trying to put the game away and get that last field goal to go up 28-27. They run the quarterback sweep to the right. Miami looks like they're all over it. He at one point is like 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage. He gets around the edge, finds a little crease, gets hit about a yard short of the first down, and kind of bounces off it and gets the first down. That was the play of the game for the Arizona Cardinals offense. That solidified the win and allowed them to run the clock to 0, kick the field goal, game over.
And that was Give Me the Headlines, presented by Hyundai. Got to take one more break. When we come back, we got some teams in the wild card picture and some AFC West teams picking up wins as well. That's all coming up next. Welcome back to Chris Simms Unbuttoned, presented by Lowe's. Lowe's knows home improvement. Let's dip right into it with Home Team Help, presented by Lowe's. So they get a double sponsorship in the final segment here on this Sunday as we approach midnight on the East Coast. And, some of these wins, you look at the quarterback and you go, Bo Nix and what he's doing for the Denver Broncos, first Broncos rookie quarterback ever to win 5 games.
Yeah.
But in the vein of home team help, it takes a village. It takes a whole team. And that defense for the Broncos makes life difficult on any team. So certainly it was going to make life hard on the Panthers. It did in the 28-14
No
win.
doubt. I mean, Lowe's home team help. You talk about defense helping out, and then you talk about the crowd. Playing in Denver is never easy.
No.
It's definitely one of the harder away stadiums I ever played at or was involved in. And again, I think even when I played for the Broncos one year, when teams would come in there, I was always like, man, this place gets loud. That fan base is passionate. It's a tough place to play. Bo Nix, I think, played his best game as a Denver Bronco or as an NFL quarterback today. Now, I know Carolina's defense is not the 85 Bears or anything like that. I get that. But still, nonetheless, I mean, we give other people credit when they tear up the Panthers' defense, and we don't second guess it, right? So Bo Nix, so many big throws. I really felt like it was one of the first games the whole year that he wasn't managed. They weren't like, let's be really conservative, let's watch out here, let's not do anything too stupid. They kind of let it fly, and I felt like he made a lot of big throws down the field. Cortland Sutton, the tight end Troutman was big. Hey, the game started off negatively for them. Little Jordan Humphrey fumbled the football. It gave the short field to the Carolina Panthers. They went up 7-0, but the Broncos are tough. That is the one thing I'll say about them. I think we've said it a lot. Their defense is tough. Their head coach is tough. They stay patient with the run. They were really good on third down, doing that as well. Cortland Sutton had a good game on that side of the ball. And come on, I mean, we just know the Panthers' defense not good, and it's arguably one of the worst offenses in football as well. I'm not surprised by this outcome at all. I'm not. There's not a lot of silver lines to look at. Bryce Young was okay, but again, that's still nothing you're going to look at and go, oh, wow, he's definitely the future. But it was a decent game for him. It was. But they're just overwhelmed as a football team. And as we've talked about, Bryce Young's not the type of guy that's going to carry the team and say, jump on my back, I'll keep him in this one.
Broncos started the season 0-2. Remember that, right? Now they've won 5 of 6 games since then. Nick Bonito.
Yeah.
He is the first Bronco with a sack. This is trivia for you. First Bronco with a sack in 6 straight games since who?
First Bronco and a sack. All right, so I'm going to say, well, I mean, I want to say Von Miller.
And you would be correct.
Okay. I thought maybe you were going to try to trick me, so I was kind of going to like, maybe it was DeMarcus Ware, but, you're very good at trying to trick me with the obvious answer.
It actually was just a nugget that Pete put in there that I made like a trivia thing. But, yeah, I mean, Nick Bonito, I mean, it's just they have a lot of names that maybe are not common names right now.
That's right.
But probably will be in the near future.
I think that's the point. They're the number 3 defense in football. They're the number 3 scoring defense in football. They're tough. They're in your face. They make plays on that side of the ball. All of that is good. And like you said it right. They got guys that are not household names that are big-time football players. And let me just say this one last thing, too. Don't be shocked if we're sitting here in January and the Broncos are in the playoffs. With this coach and that defense and the way this quarterback continues to get a little bit better and better, like – that would not surprise me. I don't look at this and go, 5-3, and they're going to fall off at some point. I know it's not going to be pretty. I'm not sitting here going, they're going to be 10-3 in a few weeks, but they're going to stay above 500 and be a real pain in the ass and a player in the AFC. I really do believe that.
That was Lowe's home team help. Thanks to our friends at Lowe's once again. Speaking of not pretty and still winning and figuring out ways to do it.
This is their cousin. They're their cousins. I'm telling you, the Chargers and the Broncos are the same team.
Chargers beat the Saints 26-8.
Yes, look at the AFC West. It's 3 defensive football teams that are like, we don't care. It's the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Broncos. We'll make the game ugly, and then we'll just slowly beat your ass down and win the football game. I mean, that's really what it is. This was ugly. I mean, it wasn't pretty at first for the Los Angeles Chargers. New Orleans kind of hung around the game. They got a safety early on in the football game. They were up 2-0. You went, man, the Chargers can't really do anything. They couldn't run the football. It was a big pass down the right sideline to a nice little lad from Georgia named Ladd McConkey that kind of broke the game open. It was 9-2. It became 9-5, and then the 60-yard touchdown pass to McConkey down the right sideline where he caught the ball, kind of 50-50 ball, breaks a tackle, runs down the end zone. And, that kind of felt like that was the moment where the Chargers were like, okay, we're going to take control of this football game. Chargers defense is legit.
They are the only team to hold every opponent to 20 points or fewer this season, the Chargers defense. But and they may have hit on this draft, like you mentioned, Ladd McConkey, and then you got Joe Alt as well. Next Gen Stats chiming in on him. The right tackle for the Chargers did not allow a pressure on any of his 38 pass blocking snaps against the Saints, tied for the most snaps without a pressure allowed by a rookie tackle over the last 3 seasons. He's been good.
They're tough. That's what they are. He's a great draft pick. Ladd's a great draft pick. Do they need more offense there? Yes. This is going to be the problem when they play really good teams is their defense will keep them in football games, but can their offense make enough plays when they have to play Kansas City or some of those type of football teams, right? I think that's what we're going to look at as we go forward. Quentin Johnson, they need him out there, right? Because he's one of those guys that can make a play that goes above and beyond the playbook or anything like that. When he's not there, they don't have that guy. And then they couldn't get the run game going. This is a Saints team, played tough. They played tough on the defensive side of the ball. I'll give them that. I don't even think Spencer Rattler played all that bad. It's just they benched him, I guess, just to get a spark, whatever. I don't even know why they benched him, but I certainly, didn't think it was like, oh, he's so bad, they got to get him out of there. Jake Haener came in. He did an okay job, but honestly, it looks like Spencer Rattler has more physical ability than Jake Haener. Chargers, I would say we got 10 more games. 9 of them will just look just like this, okay? Or 8 of them, where it's just gonna be like ew.
And they'll win 4 of those games.
And they'll win, right? And then the third or fourth quarter, will they make a play or two to win that game, or will the other team find a way to beat them and do it? But it's gonna be like this all year. This is who they are, and we know good old Jim Harbaugh is perfectly fine playing in these type of games. You're a Michigan fan. You saw him do this his whole career there.
Yep. And speaking of the Saints, something that would break your brain after that 2-0 start, scoring 40 points in both those games.
I'm so excited about their offense.
They have their worst start since 2005. You're like, what? The start was amazing.
It's so disappointing.
But they've lost 6 since that.
I was having such fun watching Derek Carr throw bronze to Rashid Shaheed and Olave and everything.
We got excited.
Yeah, we got excited. Olave took a big hit today. I worried about him with his concussion today, but he stayed in the football game, and he had a good day. He definitely did. But, the Saints are a beat-up football team, an older football team, not that very good. And the Chargers are Jim Harbaugh, Justin Herbert tough with a really tough defense and going to be ugly and a pain in the butt all year long.
All right, so those are all the Sunday games. We did it. Very briefly.
Yes.
Thursday, Rams beat the Vikings. I'm going to give you this. Curbio Analytics says, what can be done to fix the ref problem in the NFL this week was horrible with the big misses and big moments. The missed Darnold face mask and the obvious missed holding penalties on the Commanders' Hail Mary. There needs to be more accountability from the refs and the NFL. So what was your take on the face mask in the end zone?
I don't disagree with him in everything he said right there. Like we talked about the Commanders' Hail Mary play. There's 2 blatant holds where you're just like, come on, that's ridiculous, right? The Darnold face mask is one where I look at and go, why do we have to wait till after the season to vote on it? This is not a subjective play. Like, the guys get grabbed or not. And we go, hey, New York, did he get grabbed? Oh, he did? Okay, we call it. I mean, and what's embarrassing, and again, it goes into the same type of thing we're talking about with the Bears-Washington game, or we've talked about together in our friendship here for the last 4 years. Late in the game, all of a sudden, referees don't want to call penalties. But, like, you saw that play live. You saw Sam Darnold's head get wrenched. You didn't need to go like, oh, wait, let me see if he grabbed the face mask or not, right? I mean, there's certain movements and things like that you see where you go, oh, that was blatant. That one was blatant. And what to my thing is, if you're a referee, how could you not first see the guy's head get wrenched like that?
Yeah. And
throw the flag.
They all said they were not in the right spot here. And,
I know.
That's the weird part of it. But here's to your point.
Right.
It's like there's no one, refs included, who would be upset if you went to replay review on that and made that a penalty.
Definitely not.
No one's going to be like, oh, this is bad for the game. It's just like, no, you clearly missed a call. Let's get it right.
Or throw the flag. And then if you guys, do your old fake huddle bullshit
while you
listen to 345 and you're watching the replays up there and go, oh, after consulting, there was no face mask on the play, right? You could do it that way. But those are plays that, that hurts. That hurts. That was a fun game to watch. It certainly was.
Having said that, are the Rams back now? They got some Nacua back and Cooper Kupp back.
It's kind of funny. It's
No one's running away with the NFC West.
No, I really was not aware when we picked the game on Thursday that Cooper Kupp was definitely going to play. It would have changed my thought a little bit. I don't know if I still would have picked the Rams. I picked the Vikings to win the football game. But you see, when those two were healthy with McVay and Stafford, and that run game with Karen Williams, they're a handful. They are. And as we talked about too, right? We've hit on the Vikings. The Vikings are just not super talented on defense. So when they play a team that's got a formula, knows how to, combat some of the crazy defenses and attack it a little bit, that's when you see the Vikings have a little bit of a problem that way. Vikings are still a good football team. There's no doubt about that. But definitely have lost their way. Defense, I think teams are starting to figure it out a little bit. And offensively, certainly not making as many big plays in the pass game as we saw early on in the football season. And I think that's something to kind of watch as we go forward.
One more game to go. Monday night, Giants in Pittsburgh at the Steelers. Steelers a 6-point favorite. Over-under is a paltry 36.5 in this one. Going to be a low-scoring game.
Yes, it will.
You predicted that as well, although I think you might have picked the over here. Is it
24-17?
Oh, yeah. My math's not going to be good at midnight
it's
here.
41 points.
Okay, there we go. Chris, you think the Steelers are going to not only win but cover?
I do. I just, the Giants, I don't think it's crazy to think the Giants can upset them. The Giants' defense, their front is pretty damn good. And I do think they'll be smarter than the Jets were last week, and they'll go, wait, we're not going to let George Pickens beat us. So we're going to make you prove something else can beat us that way. I just don't have a lot of faith in the Giants' offense. I don't trust. Really, I think the Giants, if they had Andrew Thomas, there might be some plays to be had in the pass game with Malik Neighbors and company and the weapons they have. But, with the way the protection looked last week and that bad against this Steelers front and TJ Watt, I can't pick the Giants. So, yeah, I'm going to pick the Steelers and Russell Wilson to win this one. Ugly football game, 24-17.
DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 place to bet touchdowns, and new customers can bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets instantly.
Download the app and use the promo code UNBUTTON when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours.
People said we couldn't do it.
Yeah.
We couldn't get through all the games.
We did.
And we did it. And
Yeah.
the place is a mess. We got glitter and confetti.
And you're wearing yellow pants today. You did it all.
Pants.
Right. You did it all today.
Silly string was on
You
your
went back
face.
to Michigan. You went to Michigan State, and you were like, this is too much green. I got to put on my
I had
Michigan
to
yellow.
counterbalance it.
Yeah, I had to counterbalance it a
and
little
the Wolverines did get the win.
Yes, they did.
This past weekend.
I'm sure you're happy about that. As always, thanks for coming in.
Of course.
Late. You're my buddy.
Of course.
You're one of the best there is, certainly. All right, everybody, you know where to find us. Ahmed Freed's the man. I'm sometimes the man. Come find us on Wednesday for the Pick Six podcast. I'll try to improve on being the man and shed some light on what happened in the NFL.
Yeah.
Subscribe, rate, review. You know where to find us. Enjoy Monday Night Football. We'll see you back here Wednesday. Peace out, homies. Clap it up. Yo, homies, thanks for watching. Yeah, it's time. The NFL season is here on Chris Simms Unbuttoned.
You can hit subscribe to get all the weekly picks, plus our Sunday recaps as the games are happening.
Oh, you know it. Nobody does that better than us. Thanks again for watching. Remember to subscribe. Peace out. We'll see you next time on Unbuttoned.